Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow feelings of tension or stress or worry to leave your body in your outward breath. Breathing in that resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, start to scan your body for any clues of tension. Maybe the clues of tension are muscles in your forehead, tightness in your jaw, feeling of heaviness in your neck and your shoulders, or tightness. As you breathe in and breathe out, just get a sense that it's okay to let go of that tension. As you imagine breathing in, I want you to picture what would look like and feel like bright, healing white light. As you imagine breathing in, almost breathing in a glowing, bright white light, resourceful healing. Feel it going into your lungs. And use the power of your imagination to imagine your heart does what it does with oxygen. Extract the healing properties of that white light and to distribute it to every cell in your body. When you breathe in oxygen, as you exhale, carbon dioxide leaves your body. I want you to imagine as you breathe in this healing white light, as you exhale, just imagine anything unresourceful is leaving your body in your outward breath. And you see that as a darker grey colour. So the healing white light goes in, and the shadows and darkness leaves your body. So just by breathing in and breathing out, I want you to get a sense of an emotional transfusion. Healing properties and resources like confidence, self-respect, inner strength, resilience is going into your body. And any worries and stress and anxieties are just leaving your body in that outward breath, enabling you to feel deeper and deeper relaxed. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a beach on your favorite holiday. But this time I want you to imagine that it's just you on that beach. No one else. And I want you to imagine lying perhaps on a blanket or a beach towel, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin. And in the same way that the rays of sun can give vitamin D to help your body to heal, I want you to imagine that the warmth of the sun is doing the same thing as that healing white light, enabling your body to heal from the outside and the inside, giving you a sense of feeling deeper and deeper relaxed, but also that just by breathing in and breathing out, maybe hearing the gentle breaking of the waves, you're starting to feel stronger, healthier, happier. I want you to think back to a time in your life where you felt at your strongest and most empowered. And I want you to see yourself as you looked back then. Your posture, your facial expressions, your tonality. I want you to see you at your most positive and empowered, the most resourceful you've ever been. And I want you to imagine that you're able to mimic that version of you. Breathe the way she breathed. Have the same tension in your jaw that she had. Get a growing sense that you're starting to mimic the version of you at your absolute strongest and most resourceful. And then I want you to imagine stepping into that younger, resourceful, stronger version of you, to feel how it feels to have high standards, to feel connected with all of the resources at your disposal, to have a growing sense of your resources exceed life's demands. There is a time in your life that you wouldn't have tolerated certain things. But sometimes when things move gradually and slowly, we find ourselves in a situation where we are tolerating things that we would never have dreamed to have tolerated at a different time in our life. And I want you to imagine you at this age. I want you to imagine you're having a conversation through time. I want you to imagine there you are at the age where you are at your most resourceful, most confident, felt most valuable. And imagine having a conversation as if it's happening in the present. That if they seem distracted, you would challenge them on the distractions. If they're not asking any questions, you might ask why. And perhaps you would evaluate on the back of a call that maybe your needs aren't being met. And sometimes it's worth thinking of life like a piece of fruit. And when you think of all the effort that goes in, and you see how little comes out, you start to ask the question, is the tiny drops of juice that you're getting worth all the effort of the squeeze? And as you think about your life, and you answer the question, is the juice worth the squeeze? If your unconscious mind knows that what you're getting out isn't worth the effort that you're putting in, let me know by nodding your head. And there's only ever two options. When you've evaluated that you're not happy with a situation, you either accept it and just accept that that's how it will be, or you make a decision to change it. And I want you to imagine you're back on that beach, feeling as resourceful as you felt when you felt the most resourceful you've ever been. I want you to imagine there is a large boulder behind you. Around that boulder is the thick rope attaching the boulder to you. And I want you to evaluate that you've been attached to this boulder for 35 years. I want you to look at the end of the beach, and I want you to see all of the things that are most appealing to you. Maybe hobbies or travel, new exciting adventures, maybe health and wellness, maybe time with your children, or maybe even future grandchildren. And I want you to get a sense that there are valuable things, but what's impeding you to have all of those valuable things is a feeling of attachment to a rock that is no longer giving you anything back. Acceptance would be accepting you're attached to the rock and accepting that those things that you can't reach because of the rope aren't meant for you. Ill health is just a part of being attached to this rock. Compulsive, intrusive thoughts, feelings of stress and anxiety are all what you get by being attached to this rock. Or you decide to cut that rope, to let the rock be the rock, and to no longer feel attached to that rock. In doing so, the rope represents emotional attachment. The moment you cut that rope, it comes with a new standard that you simply don't care. You don't care what that rock does, where they are, what they ask, who they're with, because the rock is just the rock. But what you gain by cutting that rope: freedom, dignity, self-respect, full autonomy, choices, what you do with your time, your life. Cutting the rope represents freedom. And maybe now is not the time to cut that rope. Or maybe it is. If you feel like it's time to cut the rope, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to imagine in your hands is a saw, the kind of saw that would be used for cutting tree branches. And this rope is very thick. I want you to imagine it requires effort to cut that rope. But as you cut the rope, remind yourself why you're cutting the rope. Think back to the things you used to get, but haven't been getting. Think of all the things you value, but that well, that tap dried up. Do you realize how much effort you're putting in and how little you're getting back? You feel empowered to cut the rope, confident to cut the rope. The boulder wasn't a foundation. The boulder turned out to be an anchor holding you back from living the life that you desire. Imagine keep sawing that rope until it finally breaks, and when it breaks, let me know by nodding your head. And feel a wave of relief and freedom and empowerment and positivity flow throughout your entire body, giving you a sense of freedom, giving you a sense of regaining your life again. I want you to imagine walking forwards into your future of health and vitality, and imagine that this is now a new chapter in the book of your life. And I want you to see a future version of you that doesn't need to check on a phone the location or whereabouts, not looking for messages, not looking for any of that stuff, because you simply don't care anymore. And all of that care that you were giving before is now redirected at yourself. You care about your well-being. You care about your emotional, nutritional, and health needs being met. That you will start giving to yourself all the things you were hoping to have had, but never received. If your unconscious is ready to unlock powerful resources to improve your health and well-being and positivity, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose, and find yourself no longer at the beach, but here in the present, listening to my voice, as very soon I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling positive, optimistic, but most of all feeling free. That the chains, the rope that have been holding you back are no longer there. And in doing so, there is a feeling of liberation. And that feels wonderful. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.